Alright team, we're going to keep this short and sweet for the Instagram crowd, but for those of you watching on YouTube or in the Facebook group, we'll go into a little bit more depth. So, habits, here's what we need to know. They're about 40% of your daily decisions that you make unconsciously or subconsciously. They're reinforced behaviours, which simply means the more you do them, the more ingrained they become. When we look at changing habits, we have to focus on three things to begin with. The first one's your identity. So whilst I agree that of course wanting to look good naked is a really important goal, the why behind wanting to look good naked is the more important part. You want to look behind the result into what is going to make you think and feel about yourself. So when you look at becoming stronger, fitter, faster, you're considering the fact that you will be a more health-seeking and stronger individual. Women, for example, will consider strength training will make them less likely to develop osteoporosis or brittle bones. They will feel safer and stronger. Men might consider that their testosterone and their sex life will be better, although women might do too, and should do, will be better if they eat better, they sleep better, they drink less alcohol. When it comes to rewarding, it has to be enjoyable. You have to get something out of it. You're suffering in the short term to gain in the long term. Choosing not to eat today or choosing not to eat high calories today has to have a reward at some point. And when you're new at this, it might be something really, really simple, like I'm not gonna have breakfast, I'm gonna skip breakfast so I can go out for dessert tonight. And then as you get better at it, you're able to keep your calories low for 12 weeks because in 12 weeks time you're gonna be fitter, you're gonna be leaner, etc, etc. And lastly, you have to keep it simple. If you're someone that's going from terrible nutrition, no training, and you decide to chuck yourself into training 5 days a week and eating a plant-based, protein-rich diet, you're setting yourself up for failure. At the beginning of this, for dieting, pick one protein source a day. When you can nail that for 2 weeks, add on 2 protein sources. For training, train once a week. If you nail that for 2 weeks, train twice a week. That's as simple as I can make it now, but what you can see and take away from this team is that it has to be an identity-based change. You have to understand how you're going to change. You have to make it rewarding in the short term to begin with, and you have to keep it simple. If this has been helpful, obviously, please feel free to check out the video on YouTube, Instagram, and if you need more help with this kind of stuff, please get in touch. Now, for the Facebook clients, let's go a little bit more in depth about this. So when we talk about identity, what do we mean? Well, with identity, we mean how we consider ourselves, what we consider ourselves to be. I don't associate my identity with training, which means I don't always do it all the time. But an athlete, they train rain, sun, pandemic, whatever. I consider myself a coach, so I'm going to make my best effort to be coaching all the time, to work through Zoom, work face-to-face, work over phone calls, etc. because my identity is based in being a coach and being a carer. So you need to really dig deep into this, and if you need more resources on this, let me know and I can get you them to help us figure out what kind of identity change we're looking for. Rewarding. Now, when we're talking about rewarding, we are talking about delayed gratification. Now, if you're at the beginning of your journey, as I mentioned earlier, delayed gratification could simply be the difference between not eating in the morning so you can eat something at night. But as your goals become more complex and you become better at these habit-based changes, your choices can become longer, more in-depth. So if we take the example of someone who is trying to lose body fat, if they've never dieted before, I'm going to tell them to focus on losing 1 pound a week, maybe even half a pound, because the change in that is so significant for them, having not seen many or any change in the past diets, that they will then be so happy with that, it will reinforce the behaviour and move forward. But if I have a client who's relatively muscular, has completed several diets before successfully, I'm not going to congratulate them on sticking to their calories, but what I'm going to congratulate them on is sticking to their calories, being able to keep their protein up and keeping their carbohydrates higher for their training sessions, because their goals and their habits are more complex. So we need to make sure that we're not just rewarding ourselves for things that we can do easily. There's no sense in me rewarding myself for training because I've trained for years. That should be something that I strive to do every single week. And if I don't, I need to look back at it and I need to think, right, okay, I'm not doing this. This is a habit that I should be able to perform. Where am I going wrong? Then we look at simple. Simple is relative. A simple change for me is a lot different for a simple change for you, especially when it comes to training. To keep training simple, you have a program that you stick to. I have changing variables because I can adjust it based on the fly. Again, my training goals are not linked with my identity, so I am not super fussed about this. But I am going to keep it simple as possible to coach everyone. Everyone has their set days. I have my set working times. I do your check-ins at this time. I respond to messages at this time. These kind of things are relative to the individual and their level of complexity. Now, I'm not going to belabor any more on this, folks. I hope it's gone into a little bit more depth for you all and you understand it a bit more. And if you have any questions, pop them in the comment box. Email me, get in touch with whichever socials I've popped in, whichever medium you're using. And if you're on Spotify, I imagine I will put this on Spotify. Please, please, please like it. If you can like it, share it. You can definitely do that and consider subscribing. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful day.